Welcome, friends, to Tinker Tailor's Solder Fry here on the mighty Loading Ready Run Video Entertainment Network. This time broadcasting to you from the Crystal Gondola of the palatial main Tiltio Studios here in beautiful downtown Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. It's time once again for the TTSF, and we're going heavy on the F today with the frying, because it's a cooking stream, and one that we're gonna have to we've been forced to do here in the home studios. Most of it's going to be here in the cooking location, and the rest of it will occur. We'll do some frying up of a batch when we're done making them. What are we making? That is, well, I thought we should do a stream where I put together a batch of Japanese style gyoza. And why would I want to do that? Because I've run out of the last batch of Japanese style gyoza that I've made in my fridge, and figured I'd share with y'all the process, the technique, and maybe some descriptions of the flavor as we go through it. But yeah, they are delicious. They're easier than you think, and there's a lot of opportunity for variations on that. Does appear to be freezing regularly. Okay, maybe I'll need to... You know what? I don't think there's anything I can do about that. Check the task manager. Task manager says everything's fine, so there's not much I can do about that. Okay, so, great. Maybe we'll just... yeah, seems fine for people. Great. Do you have Mizcan and Expedia? No, I do not, because didn't use that in my last batch of it. That said, Mizcan is a brand, from what I can see here. Rice Vinegar Brewery, they started it. Yeah, I've got rice vinegar, if that's what you're asking. But we don't use that in this recipe today. Oh, it's a dipping sauce. Okay, yeah, no, we just make our dipping sauce from 1/2 portion rice vinegar, 1/4 portion soy sauce, and then some dabs of the chili oil. So let's answer some questions here as we go along here. Are you a fan of, because you're a fan of Doro Hidoro? I am a fan. I was a fan of gyoza before the Doro Hidoro existed, much like the creator of Doro Hidoro, which is why it's so prominent in Doro Hidoro. What's gyoza again? You want to say fish balls, Tamley? No, gyoza is better known as a Japanese fried dumpling, and I'm gonna use... I don't like the word pot sticker, just because I don't like the way it feels in the mouth. So I prefer to just use the word dumpling if I have to use a collective noun, but or some sort of pierogi, says Lysander. But Japanese gyoza and Critterbot, says Stanley. Japanese yaozi. Close. The Japanese version of this dumpling, which did originate in China, generally uses a slightly thinner skin with a little bit chewier texture to it, and has a more garlic base to the flavor, and which is odd, because usually you'll find a garlic flavor more prominently in Chinese cuisine, but because it's so often served with ramen, it makes for a good pungent kick. So we're going to be making gyoza today with garlic, ginger, scallions, Napa cabbage, pork, some seasoning, some white pepper, and that's it. I was hoping today that we'd get to be able to put some rencon. Now I'm blanking on the English name for rencon. Lotus root in there as well for texture, but unfortunately it seems that I won't be able to be guaranteed lotus root on my plate until the H Mart here in town opens. Support your local grocers, though. They need it, because they don't always have the rencon in hand. Right, so what else do we need to talk about here? The recipe that we're going to be running from is once again featured on Serious Eats from the great Kenji Lopez alt. He did once again an amazing breakdown, as is his want of the science and the options involved in making a gyoza, and came up with one of his favorites. Well, you make it from scratch too. And a lot of people might say, hey Ian, if you're making gyoza from scratch, are you going to make the dough? The answer is no. No, don't do that for gyoza. Gyoza is one of those things that needs that thin, stretchy kind of dough that you're only going to get from multiple passes through a commercial pasta rolling machine, which is why basically every establishment in Japan and across the world that serves gyoza or makes their own gyoza, home, establishment, restaurant, all the way down the chain, they're probably using something like this, which is just your standard dumpling wraps. They might be called wonton wraps. I'm also going to be finishing up a secondary package that I picked up previously. But yeah, handmade dough is fun. It's cool to be able to say that you've done something from scratch. But when you're dealing with a rolling pin and rolling your own dough, that's going to be something that's more suitable to a different kind of Chinese dumpling, which has that expected meatier and thicker texture to the skin. But what we will be doing is we'll be cutting the meat in the internals with some vegetables to get it nice and texturally up. We'll walk you through the process here as it goes. But Julie Mon says, you don't make your own hamburger buns when you grill burgers, and you don't make your own gyoza wraps when you make gyoza. It's not worth the time and effort. Agreed. I mean, you can absolutely do it, but to paraphrase Carl Sagan, we're not going to have to reinvent the universe in order to make these gyoza from scratch. So let's shall we get to it? Let's bring up our recipe on our thing. And of course, you can, as I've mentioned, it's a Serious Eats Kenji Lopez alt recipe. You can follow along at home if you would like. Let's see here. So for this recipe, let's bring you down into the land of Dairy Queen. We are going to need 1 pound of finely minced Napa cabbage. We'll get to that, which is half a medium head. I think this is probably close to a pound, if not more, by itself. But this was the smallest amount of Napa cabbage that I could obtain. Oh, heck yeah! Should have known you'd be hand folding these. Don't know why I'd make a default without a question frozen from stream. Yeah, they will be frozen on stream. We'll put them in the freezer, the remainder of them, but. No, we're gonna make them. Although we are going to make them in a cast iron pan and not a nonstick pan, because I don't have any nonstick pans because I am an aspirational bird owner, and also I now that I know how to do it in a cast iron pan, I don't need a nonstick pan for it, do I now? So you need a pound of cabbage. We'll get to that. We need kosher salt. Great. We have towels here, thankfully. Welcome, beer, to the party. You made a mess. You are no longer a friend. Yes, we've got our kosher salt. Okay, and then let's get that extra towel. Thankfully, I brought this towel along specifically to be a wiping device. We'll get into that early, aren't we? All right, that's a wood table, which is always nice. Don't worry, this table is well accustomed to this sort of abuse. We'll get to more of it and dealing with the water later on there. Wow, good start, Ian. Good start. Okay, right, we'll need new towels, I guess, is that? Okay, we got our kosher salt. Everything's gonna be sticky until we get this all fixed up anyway. Kosher salt. We will need a pound of pork, which I have in 2 portions because I used some pork for some Tan men the other day. Beer safer in the body than it is outside the body. We have our white pepper. We have our minced unminced, but to be minced garlic. We have our 3 fresh scallions, washed, but now slightly dampened with some good smelling liquid. I think honestly the beer will go nicely with the flavor of the gyoza. I need to put into place. There we go. Put you over here next to the chat. There we go. You need some sugar. You're going to need your dumpling wrappers. You're going to need oil, not pictured because it's in the kitchen next to the stove. And you're going to, and that's it. And then for the sauce, as I said, there's the oil. Thank you, thing. And for the sauce, as you mentioned earlier, they suggest half a cup of rice vinegar, 1/4 cup soy sauce, 2 tablespoons chili oil, optional. You know, that's a suggested ratio. Mix up the sauce how you want. It's just vinegar, soy sauce, and chili oil. Your choice into what those other things. I have not mentioned, Bob in English, the Ninja Goldfish, what I'm drinking tonight. We are having Chromatic IPA from Category 12 Brewing. So, shall we get ourselves started with this fun little activity? Because I like making the gyoza, even though I've only done it once, because it's there's going to be a lot of time to chat. So get your questions in later when we start the folding process, because for now we have to start by dealing with the cabbage. And for that, let's put that over there, this over here, and let's bring out our currently wetted cutting board. Boy, this needs an oil. This is embarrassing, is what this is. Pot sticker is the literal translation of the Chinese name for a style of dumpling that is fried on one side. Oh, that's okay. That's some new information, Draconite Dev, that I was not aware of. That makes me less happy. Still don't like the word. But at least I know it's now slightly less wrong. Okay, let's find out how much cabbage we've actually got, because those, not convenience store, but the grocery store scales can sometimes be a little bit, yeah. And what's 1 pound in grams? 453. So let's 632. So I think once we get the core out, this is probably going to be pretty close to 1 pound. So let's, let's just chop off that big end there. I can always use a bit of that and what I don't use to make some pickles later. Maybe I should, weigh the stuff we're going to use. There we go. 453 is it? Well, it's, 461's close enough in my book. So just remember that's what we're going to go for with pork. And like I said, this will get made into some nice pickles later on when we can get to that. Okay, so let's shred some cabbage and then mince some cabbage. Bob the Ninja Goldfish, yes, I did wash our vegetables prior to the stream. If I'm going to point with the knife, I need to make sure that I'm on the screen, and you're probably over there. So yeah, I did wash my vegetables prior to the stream because I'm not next to a sink as well for the hands. So we're all clean here. Don't worry. Original Chinese name. Okay, yeah. Anyway. And Xmedia, I am a mineral oil person just because it's cheap and easy, and I like how it makes the wood feel. I haven't tried linseed, but I understand that can be a little bit more difficult to deal with. But yeah, mineral oil is just super easy. I'll generally just take the cutting board, just saturate the top until it's almost enough thickness with a surface tension just to keep it from going over the edge, and then let it go for an hour or so. Wipe it in with usually my hand or a paper towel, and just kind of rub the bottom with anything that's left over. But this is this cutting board I got. It's a larch wood cutting board, which is a Canadian company, and found it in a Winners shop a few years back. So keep your eye out on your thrift shops and your overstock shops for good kitchen gear. Sometimes you can find it. Sometimes it's a little harder to find, but okay. So this is, I probably could have shredded that finer, but you know what? We're here now. All right, let's do this in stages. Let's put that in there for now. Come back to you later. Tristan's going to identify a larch from a distance away. Fantastic. Probably due to the tutorials made by a certain British educational group, I believe. All right, and then we're just going to try and get this down to minced levels. I'm going to bring my seat up here a bit. Normally, you don't cook well sitting down, and it's always weird. Come on. All right. Ooh, that's much better. Okay, and we're just going to want to get this minced as finely as possible. The idea being here that we want in the end, the cabbage to be about as bite-sized or mince-sized as the ground pork itself, because you want it to incorporate well with itself. Whew. Mincing can be quite unpleasantly messy, I've found. It's one of those things I still haven't found my technique for. Button and goldfish, I was just thinking about that maybe I should get used to cooking while sitting down for the times that I can, or at least get it proficient for my future when I won't be able to necessarily stand for long purposes or long periods of time for cooking. This is part of my belief that every piece of accessibility equipment is important and should be paid attention to by everyone, because eventually you might need it, and you probably will. Accessibility is for everyone. Oh, lots of floor debris here, but that's fine. Whew. Okay, this is starting to be a good mince, in my opinion. Ah! Dagnabbit. Going over the edge. Can't have that. I mean, we can have that, but it's annoying. As long as it's not on the ground, it's fair game, right? That's how the That's how it works if you keep a clean space, right? Okay, we're starting to get what I would consider to be happy with the mince for this level here. But you want to make it really tiny. Like, remember the last time you had a gyoza dumpling? Were there big chunks in it? Probably not. If not, probably because they did a good job mincing. Did they use a knife in their hands? Not necessarily. There are attachments of food processors that can do this. I don't have a food processor, and if I did, it would be very loud. Mazare, this knife is, oddly enough, not anything special. This was something that IKEA put out for a while. It's their... Oh, good lord. I don't think I can see the markings there. If you can see the markings up here, you have better eyes than I do right now. But it's not actually a Damascus pattern. That's, I think, just added on in post with some acid etching. But it was well reviewed. The metal is good. It holds an edge decently and sharpens up pretty easily. So I've been happy with it. I was in the mood to upgrade a knife while I was in Japan, but I didn't do nearly enough research beforehand to figure out what it is that I'm actually looking for in a knife that would make it better than this one. So Dragonite Dev, I also dislike the idea of because you might need it one day as well, because it's a, I use accessibility options, at least in my software, on my computers, on a regular basis, without it necessarily being a need. It's like I said, accessibility is for everyone at all stages, and I'll use. Definitely turned off animation or excessive animations. I frequently make use of and had made use of the double tap on my Apple Watch before it was even a feature for able-bodied people. And one of the pieces of software I love the most on the Mac right now is called Home Row. And what it does is anytime you hit for me, I've set the keyboard command to be Control Option Space. Hit those buttons, and suddenly overlaid over top of your screen are action points labeled with 2-character keyboard shortcuts assigned based on accessibility targets built into the software. So you can navigate a lot of your software without even having to touch the what do you call it? Without having to touch the mouse, which I expressively love. All right, we're going to start transferring this over to the place where we'll be adding, we're going to add salt to this, is what's going to happen next here. And might as well put it right in the fine mesh strainer to begin with here. So let's throw that in there. Right. Let's scrape and scrape. Maybe I'll see what I can do here. VG10 chromium steel. That's what it says underneath the blob. There we go. In there, and boom, in there. Okay, boom. That's half the cabbage. Turns out there's a lot of cabbage in gyoza. And what we're going to do next to it is we're going to salt this sucker up with a good amount of salt. The idea being is that what we want to do is we want to draw the moisture out of the cabbage so that when we do end up frying them and combining it with the pork, that it ends up not being incredibly wet and just soupy. Soup dumplings are a different thing. You don't get your soup from cabbage directly. But that's going to come up next. And it's going to be, I think you're going to be quite, if not surprised, amused at how much moisture comes out of this cabbage once we've got it salted. And so it's that interplay of the cabbage with the pork that ends up keeping the whole gyoza itself from tasting too gummy based on just meat alone, or ground meat alone specifically, or too wet. I'll deal with that. You know what? I'm going to deal with that light issue now. Because we all need light to see. And no accessibility comments about that. It's quite literally how sight and light works. Okay, and bring this down. Flip you up. Yes. Yes, this man wants even more. In France. And in Germany. Okay. Okay. Please don't fall down, light. Great, we're back. Back in here again. Sure, I'm glad I sharpened my knives before yesterday. No kitty, Manolo is not for you. Well, I mean, not unless the cat's having problems, right? Well, thank you, Microsoft. I'm glad to know there are no threats on my computer right now. He's 4 months old? Yeah, no, if your cat needs mineral oil at 4 months old, no. Also, congratulations on the new kitty. The American, I would just try some, if you're looking to light cabbage, try some Napa cabbage, specifically doing some quick pickling with it with, a Ziploc bag and some salt and some heat that you can add to it from chili peppers or whatnot. Or try some Taiwanese sweet cabbage, which is, I think, currently hitting markets right now, if my own market is any indication how many they have. It still gives you that root flavor of cabbage, but gives you a bit more sweetness, or the Napa flavor, a less oppressive texture, and might ease your path down the cabbage way. Okay, here we go. I've heard there are other things you can use in place of cabbage in the gyoza, but I like it. It's good roughage, and the sweetness pairs well with the pork and the sugar we're about to add to. Okay, I think that's gonna be what I call. Now that's what I call minced. Boy, that definitely sticks to the side of the knife, yo. All right, let's get that in there. Tossing's going to be a bit of an issue, but you know what? We'll make do. Rather than toss, I think we'll just have to do a stir. Okay, so once you've got that going for you, you've got your Napa cabbage set up. Then we're going to add 2 teaspoons of kosher salt to this. So, I think I've been fairly good about doing my pinches recently in an appropriate size. That in there. Another one. Oops. Remove your cabbage from your salt. All right. And then you know what? I am going to toss this to combine. We need just a bit more space here. Okay, and I think we'll actually end up going into a different bowl for the draining purposes. But the idea is you want to make sure that you've got your cabbage and your salt properly combined so that your salt has a chance to open up as many of those cell walls as it can and just bust that moisture right out of there. Yes, spinach is not a brassica. Cabbage is a brassica. Brassicas are our friends. Bob Ninja Goldfish says, Ian, did you see the video Alton put out today about how he cooks porterhouses? I've not seen anything today on that yet. Though I'll have to have a look. He's still one of my favorite food personalities, so when he's talking about food. Okay, let's get all that cabbage out in there. And then, hey Siri, set a 15-minute timer. There we go. Countdown 15 minutes for our cabbage. I'm just going to step away for a second to rinse my hands off because these are covered in cabbage. And cabbage doesn't just wick off like so many other liquids. Thought I could do everything from a seated position. I was wrong. Next time I'll know for sure. Pick up some of the fallen cabbage shoulders there. Whoop. Well, god damn it! When you toss a piece of cabbage and it goes exactly as far as the bowl bounces out of the bowl and hits the floor right around where you were sitting to begin with. Okay, so we've got our cabbage going. Shall we? Do we know the difference between a pinch and a dash? Yes. Pinch, I believe, is a quarter teaspoon, and pinch is a teaspoon. A dash is about a quarter teaspoon, I believe. But there you are. Whee! Okay, while the cabbage is de-liquefying, let us get our aromatics together. I think that makes sense. Remaining teaspoon of salt, white pepper, garlic, ginger, scallions, sugar in a large bowl. Great. Well, let's use this same bowl. I'm going to rinse it out because I'm an adult. Thankfully, cabbage does rinse off quite nicely. Let's give that bottom of the bowl just a wipe. We're going to be picking up bits of cabbage shrapnel for days. Also, I'll be eating bits of cabbage shrapnel for days, so that's something to look forward to. Okay, now let us garbage bowl on here too. Yeah, let's get ourselves some aromatics in there. So we want an inch of ginger, or sorry, a teaspoon of ginger. So let's I don't know, let's goodbye end of ginger. That'll be about a teaspoon. I like to use the back of a knife or the side of a spoon to peel my ginger. That seems to be quite effective. It doesn't seem to be. It is. Look, evidence. Okay. This doesn't need to be in any way accurate. Also, I'm not sure if you can hear chat, but if I talk over top of it, you might be able to hear the drip, drip, drip of the cabbage draining, and it's really going. Okay. So we got our ginger. This will put in some water to make it shiny and inspiring over time. This is just a way of making sure that your oh hell, spill it. That's just a good way of making sure that your compost doesn't smell too rancid for the in between when you're able to actually get it emptied. And we want 3 garlic cloves, which means we want probably 5 garlic cloves. Let's see here. Yeah, of those sizes, that's about what I think we'll... I mean, let's... hell. They came off. They're part of the cloves now. That's my feeling. All right, you know what? Let's peel them up, too, because we're going to need it. You know, I've yet to find a reliably good hack for peeling garlic myself. I know I've tried the put them in 2 bowls and shake them up, and that's, but then you just have 2 more bowls that you need to end up cleaning. Smash it with a knife flat. That would normally be my my go-to, Lady Aliers, if I was mincing it by hand with a knife. But I'm going to be using microplane on these, so it's they kind of need to maintain their integrity. Oh, you use one too? Okay, yeah, that's all right. Oh, they're starting to sprout a bit. That's no good. Boo. Well, you know what? It'll be fine. Yeah, I found my go-to for peeling these days has been to just twist it a bit, the whole clove, until you just hear a crack, and then that's usually enough to know that it's separated, or you can at least get your finger underneath. That's not so bad. Let's get to grating, shall we? Okay, great. Great, that's what I'm doing. You just get in there. You'll be fine. There we go. This is my dollar store microplane, and it works without any qualifiers. It don't work great, but it does work. And one day I'll upgrade to the real thing, but for now, I'll just, make bad habits with the dollar store. By bad habits, I mean straight up just push your fingers right up against the plane. Loftsley, no, not unfortunately. These are just for me. But the gyoza are in fact not in preparation for regular crispy day. I have a different, oddly enough, still Japanese food lined up for regular crispy day, but it is not the gyoza. That's kind of thought about that but the gyozas are more. I wouldn't say that the crispiness is the thing that is notable about gyoza. I'm not going to mention what the other Japanese food is. You're welcome to make guesses all you like, but let's just say, yeah, we're keeping it on point. Okay, grind up our ginger. Lastly, we do have, so we've got Dollar King, Dollar Giant, and this one, the local one that I go to is Dollarama. You know, when I need cheap supplies. I painted an entire Gundam with dollar store craft paints though, so you know the quality can be there. All right, and here's the trick that I have to use, which is to just use a bad knife to get the remainder out of the back side of the grate. Kind of cut it right off at the head, slide it through, and there you go. Nice, clean, and relatively painless. Where do these go? Over here now? Okay, take a second here. Captain Asparagus, have I seen the 7-Eleven Gundam? Have I seen the 7-Eleven Gundam? Have you seen the episode of Tinker Tailor Soldier Fry where Ian Horner builds the 7-Eleven Gundam? I can't remember how far back it is, but yes, we've built one, and I'm in the process of I think I bought decals for. Okay, so here's the thing. I bought a third-party decal kit for my 7-Eleven Gundam. Turned out I bought the wrong scale, which is 1:100. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is, instead of putting decals on the official 7-Eleven Gundam, I'm just going to get another 1:100 Gundam, paint it up in the 7-Eleven colors, and then and then put the decals on the big one. So, yeah. We're still waiting on the cabbage to get worked on and drained, but we have a few more things that we need to combine in here. So let's get the remaining teaspoon of salt. Yes. White pepper. Oh, hey, fresh. Y'all are lucky. I hadn't bought white pepper until just earlier this year for the first time, and boy, oh boy, I cannot understand what I'd been doing up till this point, living in a world without white pepper in my life. I used to think it's like, oh, it's just like black pepper without the outside edge. No. It's got that, I don't know if I want to call it ammonia-y smell to it, but it's definitely a different smell than just straight black pepper. And I really like it, especially in some of, especially in Asian dishes. I find it's really necessary to get the flavor that you're looking for. Salt, white pepper, garlic, ginger, scallions, and sugar. Well, let's take care of the sugar too. Sugar is 2 teaspoons, right? Yes. Boop, boop. Where were you, teaspoon? There you are. The other one is sancho pepper, which is the Japanese, one of the Japanese green peppers. And it has a surprisingly citrusy profile to it that I was not expecting. Hey, there, good God, that was a... That was a long time ago and a different house ago. Wow. But thank you to Maricat for looking those up. That's a trip down memory lane. Scallions. All right, let's just trim those tops there. Whoop. Ugh, that one didn't look too good. Scallions are always a bit hit or miss too, so. Anyway, mince these as well to get to, again, keep them low. You don't want anything big and chunky in your gyoza. Now, I considered, as I said, doing lotus root. Really wanted to try that for a textural change, but I would still want to mince that into like really tiny chunks. Ooh. Knife skills questionable to begin with, and then we add sitting down. 7-Eleven built over 2 episodes. Okay, there we go. Hey, I'm starting to learn some more technique here, I think. Anyway, let's get that in with the fun boys. Oops, there's some onions I hadn't chopped yet. Properly minced. Let's use that scraper. That's what we got it here for. Found Walmart to be a source of good scallions. I don't. So as much as I dislike Walmart as a company and as a blight on economics in general. Ooh, we're done with our things. They do have a good produce procurement group. I'm always stunned at how good their produce generally is, at least in my area, on the off times that I'm there for some other reason. Okay. So that's looking good. We've got our good stuff in here, and let's leave it as is. Give myself a quick sip here. Walmart produce is also usually locally sourced. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, just meh. Don't like Walmart, but do like it when the consumer gets what they need at a reasonable price. You know what, folks? As I said, we're due here to deal with our cabbage. Just give you a quick look at. Still dripping. So, yeah, you can see there. So let's say we actually take a. Oh, God. Let's say we take a few minutes here to stretch the legs, swap the fluids, wash the hands after a couple sneezes like that, and we'll be back in a few minutes to finish up our cabbage and our gyoza. and get the whole thing all wrapped up, as it were, in a few minutes. But for the now, like I said, break time, get up, stretch your legs, swap your fluids, we'll be back in just a few minutes. Don't go all the way away! Folks, welcome back to Tinker Tailor Solder Fry here on the mighty Loading Ready Run Video Entertainment Network. My name is Ian, and we are cooking gyoza here today on the channel. We've just finished draining our salted cabbage of liquid, and boy oh boy, is that a is that a hunk of liquid right there? Sure is, isn't it? Yeah. Let's get more. Next step. That cabbage didn't have nearly enough liquid removed from it, so we're going to lay out a clean towel here. We're going to get more out. How are we going to do that? Well, we're just going to wrap up this here towel with all that gyoza cabbage in it. Try and grab as many of the corners as I can. Let's get that over top of the thing here. And this is, as we said, part of what Kenji's experiments have shown us. And that is that you can get a lot more water out of this than you think you can if you're willing to squeeze it. Remember how much cabbage that was, by the way? This is why I didn't worry about it. Yeah, so you're just going to want to squeeze the hell out of that. And just try and get as much liquid out of there as possible. But we are going to use the same weight, original dry weight, of pork. So you can kind of see how this becomes a textural filler, but absolutely not a diluter of flavor, because the dilution solution is right there. I don't think that there is a good use for this liquid, but for the purposes of science, I'm going to taste it right now and see what we think. That's not a good liquid. I would not recommend drinking the cabbage liquid. It's very, very salty, but come on. Push. Okay. A little bit more squish here just to make sure to get as much out as we can. Dragonite, it tastes nothing like towel. It tastes everything like cabbage and salt. Oh, wow. That's a significant amount. I almost be curious to weigh that just to see how much. You know what? Just for fun, we're going to do that as soon as we get this cabbage into the bowl. There we go. And of course, because it's mostly dry, it just picks off fairly easily, and you can just toss it in the bowl with the rest of the gyoza prep. Okay, get that there. Need to go back to the kitchen for another bowl here, but actually, you know what? I don't think we do. Technically, that one's going to get dealt with. Yeah, actually, we can just use this bowl here. All right. Put your bets in now as for how much liquid the cabbage was. All right, we need to taper off for the packaging and set the tare on the scales. All right, so I think we were at 483 to begin with. So holy moly. Okay, I did not expect, if we were at 483, which I think we were at, but 461, Mazray says, maybe, anywhere in between those two, that is over half the volume, half the weight of that cabbage in water. And we can get it dry. But wow, that's, did not expect it to be that much. All right, we'll be right back. So I need to rinse my hands off of that that cabbage salt juice. I was gonna say maybe I should see if I can ferment it, but I think the salt would keep it from starting. So this is the purpose of the salt, which is to keep bacterial growth from occurring. Well, not in this case. It's just there for flavor. Right. Cabbage, pork, not pork, but pork will be added to this. So yeah, we need, we're saying at 460. 470 or so? Yeah, there we go. 470-ish for pork. So let's start adding our pork. Actually, what do I got here in terms of just straight numbers? 425. So we do need to go up a bit, yeah. I guess I'll just use some of this for an omelet this weekend or something. All right, let's get into the pork here. Let's take a... Whew, I'm glad I sharpened all my knives last night. This is surprisingly pleasant. In you go. And then that was 425, so we want, like, you know what? Oh, what do you think? 425 to get it for, so 50 grams. 50 grams of pork sounds good. That seems like about that. Burp. 30. Oh, so close. 40. Oh, come on. 53. Good enough. Porked up indeed. Get on there. Okay, let's close that up and put that back in the fridge because we don't need that now. Tonight for dinner we'll be having these gyoza. Though I have found, as much as I love having fresh gyoza, they actually get a bit better once you've left them in the freezer for at least a day. What that does is that it really causes the wrapping to tighten up a bit and conform to the shape of the gyoza, so it's a little bit less looser. It's really, it is worth doing. TBH. All right. Boom. That's that. I believe the next step in the recipe, a lot of this is like, it's pretty self-explanatory so far, is to combine pork and knead and turn with clean hands until the mixture is homogeneous and starts to feel tacky and sticky. So I'm going to use a spoon to start with this, but then I'm going to move over to hand-based stuff. I mean, yeah, I'm going to do that. I don't like to touch things with my fingies, but I do know how to mix a thing with a spatula. And then if we need to, we can get our fingies in there. But for now, let's just fold and separate, shall we? Oh, God. Okay, so here's the other thing about making gyoza, is that the smell that comes off of this when the white pepper starts hitting the ginger and the garlic, it is, oh, just divine. Like, it smells just like a, well, it smells like a fresh gyoza, which is not something that you ever want to eat, you know, given the raw pork. But okay. NX Media's got dedicated kitchen gloves. I have no problem touching the pork, to be honest. What I have a problem with is losing seasonings and flavor to things that get stuck to my fingers. Because the hardest trouble I have is getting the stuff off my hands when I'm done mixing. You can do you however you like during this way. I like the idea of kneading meat by hand, but yeah, and also there are people like Arconis, who's never fond of touching raw meat. Grosses you out. That's, you know what? That's fine. We can't exactly control what causes us to have intense negative reactions. I personally have no problem, but I don't like... But I'm also... My big problem is I just don't like being wet when I'm not supposed to be wet. Which is to say, you know, anytime I'm wearing clothes. So flume rides for me at like a theme park are just an absolute no, because like, why would I want to get wet in my clothing and then be wet for an amount of time after that? Wet means sticky. Sticky means uncomfortable. Uncomfortable means having a bad time on my vacation at a theme park in Callaway Park. Shout out to the Albertans in their chat who know what's real. Oh, I should work out more just to be able to be better at cooking things. Yeah, I can get behind that, yeah. Love flume rides until I ride them and then do not love them. Like, if flume rides were some things that were at water parks, I'd be like, heck yeah, let's do that. Let's get on the... but then that kind of is antithetical to the whole idea of water parks, which are flume rides without the flume, without the boat. All right, I think it's starting to look tacky. It's definitely looking tacky, which is what we want. And it's looking, to me, to be homogeneous, which is, again, what we want. So it's time to do something that is not often recommended. Yeah, come back. Get back in here. And what is that, you ask? Well, we're going to taste it. We're going to see how this turned out. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to take a small amount, a teaspoon's amount, roughly. So let's get that little hunk there. We're going to put it on a plate, which I have removed the excess cabbage bits from. We're going to go microwave this for 10 seconds, and then we're going to give it a try. Bob, I've not tried one of the cure your own sausage kits yet. Haven't gotten into meat curing on this end. That's possibly a thing for the future, but yeah. I don't know if I don't know if I need a kit for that. The cheese, I think, a little bit was kind of necessary for Kit, because you needed the you kind of want that cheese press. Okay, you can really hear it crackling and popping in there. And that gives it just enough of a cook to not kill me. But then I can still taste how this thing is going to be. So let's give it a try. Dragonite says all parts of my pop music controller arrived. Hey, great! Enjoy that that put together build when you do. Perfect. I don't think I'd add anything more. I can get the white peppers definitely there. I didn't put full scallions in. Last time I made these, I think I only worked with the white parts of the scallions, but this time the green ones are added, and those are definitely a good addition. Love that flavor. It's a little bit, just a little bit sweet. You can taste the cabbages there to give you some crunch when you need it. And overall, this is just like it's that little umami blast that you're going to get in the center of a dumpling that's been coated in dough that's been mired reactioned on one side in oil, and there's going to be vinegar sauce and soy sauce and chili powder, chili oil on the outside. Whoa! And I think that means that we've got what we need to start the process of actually filling the gyoza. We've got to that point. So, time to start making a station, which means I think I'm going to get rid of this cutting board here, actually. Because it's going to be too big for me. Too big for you. Ugh. We could just spend the last, couple hours here just throwing more tablespoon-size bits of meat into the microwave for me to eat. But let's consider that as a thing in the future. So next thing you're going to need is someplace to put your dumplings when you're done rolling them. I'm going to use this cake sheet lined with parchment paper. So what's going to happen is you're going to put your gyoza on there. It's going to go into the freezer for 30 minutes. Then you can put it into bags. And it's good for a couple months. If they last that long. Hey-o. All right. Next up, we need our good friend, the dumpling wrappers. I'm going to keep this most of this bag intact if I can, so that we can use it to reseal up to the other gyoza wrappers we didn't use. And the other thing you're going to want is a little dish for your finger to get wet inside of. And because that's how we seal things up. Now, there are a number of different methods that one can use for sealing a gyoza. The one that I'm going to use today is the crease and pleat variation. Let me just adjust my camera here just a bit down this way, so my hands are there. If you follow through the old, are they just generic dumpling wrappers, Draconite Dev? Yep. This brand is Double Happiness. I also bought for when they run out. This brand is Tac Fung, and they were $2 cheaper. So I'm going to give them a try once we're done with the Double Happinesses. But yeah, you're literally going with the cheapest, or whatever's available in your area. You probably have a local varietal that's been well, not local, but at least regional. But yeah, so there's a few different methods you can use to do your dumpling rolling. Oh my, are these okay? Am these okay? I think they are. Just need to get one here. Yep. So there's a number of ways. You can do the crease method. You can also do a method that's just folding over like a pierogi and then tucking the two ends underneath each other to give you sort of more of a tortellini style. I'm going to try to keep that out of my mind because I have the pleat method working in my head and don't want to have it go away. But if you want to look at the different options that are available, check out Kenji's article, check out Kenji's video on the same topic. He'll run you through the various different ways. I think it's worth taking the time to learn the pleat method because it really makes the gyozas look classic in the way that you expect gyozas to look. They'll still fry up the same way if you use any other method, but the pleat looks nice. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a spoon, or you can use fingers, I guess, if you like, but you want to get about a teaspoon, roughly. You don't want of mixture. Now, you don't want to overfill these things. It's going to be very tempting to do that. I might have just done that already. But you're going to put it into a disc shape. This will make it easier to roll, and this will make it less likely to burst up when you're rolling it. You're then going to grab a finger here. Get it nice and wet. You're going to trace around the edges of your gyoza, right? And you're going to fold it. Well, you're not going to really fold it in half so much as you're just going to kind of turn it over, keeping it in the base of your hands. And you're going to just kind of start there by making a little pinch, and then pleat over, and then over, and then over. So we got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you want to get 7 or 8. I kind of prematurely closed it up there, but give it a good squeeze to make sure all the edges are really pinched up. And there you go. That, to me, looks like a gyoza. Once you get it closed up, how pretty your pleats are doesn't really matter. No one's going to question it. And then you can kind of curl the back in there if you want to give it a bit of a thing. But I'm just going to plop it down here on the thing. I like to go to set them down pleats side up, because what that means is that you can have the plates up in the air during the cooking and frying session, so they get a little bit crispier and more fun that way. And so yeah, that's what we're going to be doing for the next little while, folks. Strap in. Exciting times ahead. What I haven't done is, well, haven't done this a second time. Done this once before, and it turned out rather well for me. At least I felt like it did. So I figured it was time to bring it on the show. And that means I can spend some time with y'all. Maybe answer some questions, and also get myself some gyozas done. Look at that one. That one came together really nice there. Bob the Angel Fish asks, what the pleat method, are both sides of the dumpling casing supposed to be in the pleat, or just one side? Just the one side. So once again, I'll go through this and talk it up here. So get your nice round circle, get your meat, get enough, but not too much. Sometimes that can be difficult. Disc it up in the center. Oh, that might be way too much, actually. Well, we're going to find out in a second. But yeah, we want to I do a full circle of sealing liquid just to make sure that it's able to get that seal. And then we pinch once, and then the top. The bottom stays as it is, but the top pleats over. And then why you want it as a disc is it allows that interior meat to kind of rotate as you're pleating, because you're kind of turning the top while the bottom stays flat. This was a terrible example because I had too much in that gyoza. One moment, please. Oh, that's a fat little guy. Yeah. Oh, we like you. Okay, so separate your skins. Grab a more appropriate amount of meat. No, don't go. Never go tablespoon. You want teaspoon. Teaspoon. This is probably even, again, too much, but let's see if we can do it. Get a disc shape. Give it a couple goes around, dry off the fan. Kind of start it going, and pleat once. Pleat again. Again, only the top. Pleat. Pleat. You know what? Doing bad here. Pleat. Pleat. And can we get one more? I bet we can. No, we can't. Well, yeah, we can. Great. And like, look, even that garbage job of that turned into a half decent gyoza. And once it's fried, once it's on your plate, you will not, I guarantee you, notice the difference in terms of how pretty it's been pleated. Yeah, Tamily, the key is keeping your contents manageable and small. Like this, I think, here we go, is about what we want. So disc it up. Wipe. Wipe. Now we're going to start on that side, I think. We're going to pinch. And then rotate, pinch. Rotate, pinch. Rotate, pinch. Rotate, pinch. Rotate, pinch. There's not much rotation, folks. And again, it's they look slightly pretty and they taste so good. I've heard of, Kenji talks about this in his article, that this was a regular occurrence, every couple months, that he and his siblings would be plunked down in front of the TV, rolling gyoza that their mother put together the things for. And not an experience I've ever had, but absolutely something I could see doing. The last time I did this, I sat down with a nice little audiobook and made a bunch of progress there. But this could also be a wonderful little, thing you could do with your family as well if you wanted to sit down and just like other families that actually do this on a regular basis. You too can sit down and chat and roll gyoza. And then the best part is, at the end, you get to eat it. So Fingers around, fingers around. And then start pleating. Boop, 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 boop. Maybe I should try one of those other methods just to see how it comes out looking, just for fun. But the main thing to do is just make sure that your edges are properly pinched together, because that way nothing gets out during the cooking process. Oh, that's too much. That's going to be a big boy. Oh, and actually, a tip as well: keep your skins out of the path of your water, because if you get water on them, they become extremely sticky and can become difficult to handle. Ooh, yep. Right up against the edge there, but I feel like there's enough dough edge that we can still form a decent seal. Oh, Bob the Ninja Goldfish, thank you for the compliment and for the thank you for the statement. Good luck and break a leg on your hosting duties this weekend. I think that's if you're doing something for a con like that, doing some hosting, it's because they trust you, and so congratulations on being rad enough to do that. Thank you, Dragonite. I was rolling off screen. Maybe I'll pull this a bit more this way. You don't need to see so much of my bowl here, but down here is probably where we need to be. Oh, yeah, that's probably good. Okay. Disc, right? Always disc, less lump. And around the edges, sometimes it's not as clean as it looks. Okay, let's go this. No, let's start here. Yeah. Brr. Okay. Oh no! What am I doing? God, that's... Wow. And so you'll, as you do this, you'll find that you'll pick up your own technique, and you'll learn how to deal with potential blowouts and bad situations. And there's really nothing to it more than just getting the experience. Lord Husk says, you said hold questions while you're pinching. Yes, this is the good time, Lord Husk. Would a house in the area of intersection of Cook and Hillside? Cook and Hillside. Sorry, just give me 1 second here. I know where that is. I don't often go that direction, which is actually probably good. Oh, yeah. Depending on... Well, actually, no, if you've got a house there, it's a pretty minor major intersection up there. It's definitely a good area in terms of location. You know, there's a shopping in grocery shopping. In fact, one of my favorite Asian, well, it's a compound. Most of the stuff I got for today, as well as normal normal, as well as standard Western groceries are nearby in the fairways. So that's one of my favorite places to get things from. Yeah, I think if you're in one of the houses off the main, if you're off the main street, that's probably a fairly nice place to be. And of course, you're close to the Fifth Street Bar and Grill, which is one of the better family-friendly pub-style establishments in Victoria. Okay, that one was an absolute disaster that we've just barely managed to contain, I think. Would some light music be a good addition? Just anytime he completely stops, I think about the strings breaking up. You know, that might not be a bad idea. I don't know how to get that in there. Doing some yeah, no, the dumpling skins have a limited amount of space in them. Already we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. So that's I don't feel bad about that. Let's do a bit there. Yeah, there we go. And remember, disc it out. Disc it. Don't risk it. Okay, and then let's start with that pinch on that side. Yeah, oh god, I can already feel that the disc is a easier method of folding. Because you are technically moving across the... It's hard to describe, but when you're pleating, you're moving across a bottom edge and kind of pulling this bottom edge. If you're pulling things from the top front towards there, you're pulling up on this bottom edge the whole way. So having it as a disc makes it easier to know, more predictable as to how the meat's going to play out, rather than trying to assume it's going to be like a ball that will roll in your hand. I think I understand what the method of the madness is here now. So yeah, you just close it up on the side that makes sense, and then you're just rolling it along. And the disc folds in on itself, rather than trying to maintain it being that initial ball shape. And boy, that actually feels a lot quicker too. Let's see here. Bob asks, how many gyoza do you suggest as a serving? I think 6 to 8. 8 seems to be like what I've seen in ramen shops as the your standard here serving with a bowl, or the standard serving on its own. I know you can get 10 servings at some places in Japan that are, if you're doing a strictly gyoza meal, but for tonight, I think we'll probably do Corey and I 10 each if we don't well, maybe 6. No, 10 seems good. With rice and miso soup, yeah, that'll be more than enough. Do the buttons for your pop music controller have threads on the wider diameter plastic section, or only the skinny shaft? If only the smaller section, how was it that you secured them? Draconite, so yeah, mine only had the screw threads on the small shaft. What I did is I drilled the big holes such that they were such that the inner diameter would keep them on top of the MDF. And then they came with these, I guess you could say cup, like a threaded rod and a cup sort of thing that would go over the middle threaded rod, and then you'd screw the threaded plastic nut up against that cup, and that would kind of push them together into the MDF. if that makes sense. If not, let me know, Dragonite. I'm happy to answer any questions I can about that specifically as well. Son of Tot asks, any inspiration for something to bake with sage-infused sugar this weekend? It's potentially thinking of an apple pie. Apple pie sounds good, yeah. Sage-infused sugar. What else does sage go nicely with? I mean, if you want to make... Oh, wow. I don't know how... If you're a cocktail person... But sage-infused sugar would absolutely go well in an old-fashioned with a little bit of sweetener there. Or if you were to make your simple serve with the sage-infused sugar, which kind of defeats the purpose of making it specifically sugar. You could just make sage-infused syrup. What else? Sage is one of those things that it's generally good as a savory. Yeah, the apple pie seems best. I'll keep thinking of that too. That's one of those things that now that you mentioned it, I'm not going to be able to stop thinking of. I mean, actually, adding the sage-infused sugar to a gyoza like this would probably be a pretty clutch addition. Donuts. Yes, actually, there you go. If you can make a nice caked donut, and then you know, do a press sprinkle of your sage sugar on that. That would be a great way to highlight the ingredient. I'm trying to think of ways to highlight the ingredient rather than it just being a flavor. Because there's so many other ways you can use sage sugar that you could just like, yeah, you know what, just use straight sage as part of other parts of the baking process. But a way to highlight the sugar being infused is like, yeah, if you can find a way to oh, sorry, no, yeah, if you want to do a cocktail with it, rim the edge of the glass with the sage sugar as well, because I think that would be good. Sometimes I'm glad to hear you say that you're not afraid of frying donuts. That's one of the reasons I do this show, and one of the reasons I like doing frying stuff on this show, is that trying to get people comfortable with the idea of approaching deep frying is a legitimate and not fearsome cooking technique. Also, for those of you who are very old internet heads, the sage sugar goes in the subject thread. What else we got here? Okay, a lot of people talking about savory stuff. Let's keep pleating while we're bleating, because otherwise there's no point to me doing this as a stream. I could just do an Ask Anything stream. But instead, I'm just doing Ask Anything while I get myself delicious food made. Speaking, just, you know, just spitting here. I wonder what sort of Patreon tier we'd need to put together here at Loading Ready Run for me to send a single gyoza to members of that tier. Frozen, of course, but ready for cooking. Ooh, bread pudding sounds real good there too, actually. Let's see. Now I'm just thinking of, I mean, again, it's a case of you don't need to use the sage infused sugar. You probably just put sage in it as you're making it, but a sage candy apple would be... All right, so this is my first opportunity using frozen leftover skins. And while I'm not unhappy with them, they are working mostly as intended. Taking them apart sucks. I have been worried that I've been about to tear one of these guys every time I separate it from the stack. That doesn't feel good. Second internal question, I wonder if you could wrap crab rangoon in this same sort of style. I think that's the last thing I did with dumpling skins. Cheeky gyoza style crab rangoon. There we go. Thank you, Draconite. That's exactly the sort of review I would like to get of this program, is that, hey, here's a chill, non-pressured way to try stuff out that's cool and get comfortable with the idea of doing things. Because there's one thing to be said for instructional programs. It's very cool to see people who are very good at things go off king and do what they do. And you've got so many examples of that. You know, you have your Mythbusters, you've got your Bob Rosses, you've got your Walks with Yan. Apparently Walk with Yan is coming back too, which I cannot believe. Again, shout out to all you Canadian viewers. But yeah, there's something about just being able to say, like, hey, we might fuck this up, but also we can all learn from that. And if there's someone on screen who's trying something out for the first time that you've always wanted to try out for the first time, A, you can learn from their mistakes, and B, you can just take comfort in it. Like, hey, some person is doing a thing I've wanted to try to do for the first time, and maybe it's not so hard. That said, I'm now thinking about crab rangoon is one of those dishes that I went 40 years of my life completely ignorant of until internet memes, cheetahs, made me want to try it. And now that I have tried it, I want to make crab rangoon again. Gotta get back on screen, Ian. Pleat your gyozas invisibly. God, this could be wonderful. I wonder if there's a... Let's ask Jordan for a clip for the highlights that's not actually something you can clip. Just do a speed run of me making all whatever number of gyozas it is I'm going to be making here. Oh, this is an ambitiously full one here, I think. The thing I didn't get about the crab rangoon meme was people's love of crab rangoon, and that instigated the need to try making it and try eating it, because apparently there's nowhere in Victoria that makes crab rangoon. So I had to make the only crab rangoon this city has ever seen. But having tried it, it's like it is not worthy of memery. It's good. It's decadent in the sense that it's shit food. It is white people food because it's cream cheese and maybe crab, depending on whether or not you're actually getting the real crab for it, which you shouldn't. You absolutely shouldn't. And cream cheese. Which, if there was a cultural food for European Americans, I would absolutely say that yes, cream cheese should be on the list of ethnic foods of the European American. Okay, this one is ambitious. We'll see how we go here. And yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, like, it is apparently an American staple at every thing, which is interesting. I would like to see where that comes from, because I know that there was a book of not a literal book, but there was a kind of a general menu of North Americanized Chinese food in Canada. It's been researched. It's been published. It's that was part of the immigration tactic, and it made sense to have a Chinese food restaurant in every small town city, and make the food that the people there want to eat. Makes sense, but it's not. It's not on the Canadian side of the border there. In fact, I don't even think I think we don't have General Tso's chicken. In fact, I don't think we have most of the American Chinese food dishes. Like, for example, I like I'm sure many of you did, spent a lot of time reading Garfield as in your childhood and adolescence. And two things about Garfield and Chinese food are the love of showing those Chinese style containers that are paper and square shaped with the wire handle on top. Never encountered one of those in at least in Alberta ever in my life, except in a non-Chinese restaurant called the Oodle Noodle Wok Box. And even then, that wasn't until my late teens. But on top of that, Mugu Gai Pan is the dish that I always saw referenced in Garfield, and never ran into until I started, going to the States on a regular basis for conventions and looking at Chinese restaurants there. And so, yeah, it was learning about Mugu Gai Pan and Egg Foo Young and Peking Duck was the other one. And my current favorite story. Again, not something I can really do on stream, but Oh, wood here. Yes, mushu pork. Oh, did not know about mushu pork until last year, because I started making my own mushu pork from Kenji Lopez Alt's recipe and using tortillas locally instead of the fried pancakes. I'm using a lot of mushrooms and other fungus-based. So Whittier mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms, forest fungus, which is a brain-like looking mushroom, and then using that in addition to that's where I got my taste for white pepper, and it's so good, and it's so easy to make at home if you're willing to give it the try. Okay, you know what? I have already realized what the difference between my two brands of wrappers are, and I think you'll be fairly easy to tell what the difference is here if you bring it up and look. This is the new brand that was $2 cheaper, and just look at how thick these are compared to the Double Happiness. And I think the Double Happiness is going to be going forward my wrapper of choice, just based on that difference there. Okay. All right. I'm going to say, again, time for us to take that short break. Oh, before I go, Draconite, no, there are not mushrooms in these gyozas. And I wanted to have, I really, really wanted to put lotus root in these for a textural change and something interesting. But yeah, nothing in here but chives, ginger, garlic, pork, cabbage, and spices. But that's it. We're going to go on a break. So get up, stretch your legs, swap your fluids, do what you need to do, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes or so with more gyoza wrapping. And then, very much so, we are going to fry some gyozas and give them a taste before we end. But in the meantime, don't go all the way away. Welcome back to Tinker Tailor Solder Fry here on the mighty Loading Ready Run Video Entertainment Network. My name's Ian. We are working on gyoza. We've got this many made so far. We have this many more to go. So let's keep on moving as we put these things to bed. Yeah, if you got any questions, if you got any comments, feel free to throw them in here. I'm going to keep rolling until it's time to maybe make a batch as we head on into the end of the show. Delicious. All right. So I'm going to have to make sure when we do this, when we do fry up a batch, I want to do a comparison between the new what do you call these things? New wrappers and the old. Because like I said, I'd like to save a couple dollars on wrappers if I can, always. I mean, that said, it comes out to literal cents on the wrapper, but if there is a significant difference, if I'm making it myself, I might as well do it the way I like it. Because oddly enough, I don't know if this is any cheaper. When I walked out of the store today, to get the pork, the wrappers, there was a couple other things on there on the menu. Some tofu. I mean, so there's some tofu added for tonight's dinner. And a bottle of hot sauce. $7, which I haven't, because I need my hot sauce. I think everything all told for tonight's meal came to like $36, which when it's $7 for a bag of gyoza of a volume I didn't pay attention to on the way out of the same shop, it feels Well, I mean, you know what? Economies of scale work for a reason. I don't like it. That said, I also don't... I don't feel like I'm... I do feel like I'm getting a better flavor out of this. Oh, hey there, Invis. Thank you for your compliment on the crimping technique. This is my second batch of these that I've ever done, and I feel like I'm getting into another role. But for anyone who's shied away from making their own gyoza or dumplings of any sort at home because of the crimping or the need to make something pretty, just do it. Just give it a try. No one's going to comment if you do it for yourself, especially. And then you can practice and you can learn what works for you, what doesn't. And I need to make sure that I'm on camera when I do this. Let me pull my screen back a bit here. Okay, that's as far as you get. But that's going to definitely be in there. Okay. It also has a lot to do with how much you put in, which is something I'm still learning. Also, didn't notice until just the last gyoza that these are oblong in a way that I did not necessarily expect. I would have thought fully round, but... So, yep. And then you can pull that apart to get another good pleat in there, which is probably too much. And you just keep pleating. And when you stop caring, that's when it's... that's when the gyoza became the most delicious. How many? Okay, I haven't actually looked at how many is in a stack here right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Fuck no, we want 12. Okay, a stack is 12, which is 2 sets of sticks, which is 2 servings. That seems good. Hopefully, Quint Squad, I've got things set up so that we can see the... oh, that's too much there. So that we can see the roll-in now. You know what? I think I could actually do all that. I think I can contain all of that. Philosophical question, is a ravioli a type of dumpling or is a dumpling a type of ravioli? That's actually an... I don't necessarily like all of the food, debates that are out there, but that's an interesting one because it's one I haven't heard of before. Because yes, they are both. Yeah. I think you could just call them, you know what? A ravioli is a localized dumpling. There you go. Done and done. People like localization, right? Please do not mention that dumpling is a non-localized word. Dumpling is a loan word from English to the Italian culture using the term ravioli. Dumpling, aka Italian, Asian ravioli. Squid Hominid, 6 gyozas probably isn't the official serving size for gyoza. I think the official serving size of gyoza is whatever they'll whatever you can get, whatever they're offering. I don't, in fact, remember what the last number of gyoza I had was, but I think Corey and I had like a 15 order each at one of the gyoza specific chains that we last had in Japan. That was terrible. Looks fine, but it's terrible. But just 6 feels like a good number. It just 6 feels right. Four feels like what a side order should be in a American ramen restaurant, or what I usually see as a side order in an American ramen restaurant. But I don't know. These I may be just getting old, but these days I feel like, you know what, 6 gyoza and a bowl of ramen, that's a heavy meal at that point. I wouldn't mind 4 gyoza. Now, on the other hand, 3 beers in and it's time to order gyoza. Fuck yeah, let's just order 14 gyoza. Oh. Good little boy. 6 gyoza plus fried rice equals full belly. Yeah, Draconite. That's what I'm thinking of. Some of the ramen shops I used to frequent had a wonderful deal where you get fried rice and gyoza. And you know, back in my early 20s, a full bowl of ramen plus a gyoza plus a fried rice, or plus 6 gyoza plus fried rice. Whew. That's exactly what I need to keep me going. Nowadays, yeah, 4 gyoza, a small fried rice, and what would be considered a pretty small bowl of ramen by Japanese standards is kind of where I'm coming from these days. Now, that said, try to get that for under $12 Canadian, and that's the problem. Okay, flip. Oh, wow. I'm not sure I like how much liquid, I guess, I don't know what the starch is that's along the edges in these gyoza wrappers, but it's definitely emitting a liquid. There we go. So here's a question for the chat as we continue out this. What would you personally, either based on your regional delicacies or personal preferences, what would you add to a gyoza for your personal favorite, or something to highlight your area? Now, I will also, just for clarification, you're allowed to take out the garlic from this if you like. It can be the most cabbage and pork as basics if you need it to be that, but because I think for here in Victoria, so when I moved to Victoria, I thought we'd have a lot more seafood options here. It's an island. There's a history of fishing. There's some stuff going on. No, thanks to a combination of Canadian fishing laws, which require processing at a central approved plant for certain seafood, which means our shellfish can't be commercially sold on island. What the fuck? Another reason is we don't have a lot of seafood here. However, over time, I've become more aware of the history and the culinary habits of the indigenous people of the area, the Lukungan people. And turns out there's an interesting flower called the camas that has an edible root it's been cultivated here for centuries and is still sometimes available to see. And I think that if I can't get a hold of it, I mean, I want to try the lotus root to begin with. But once I've done that, if the camas bulb is equally as crisp and textural, I would love to have that added into the gyoza here. Gonna take a second here to just catch up on y'all's ideas. Shrimp gyoza sounds banger. I mean, yeah. I mean, no, shrimp gyoza is just another, that's a different dim sum. That's a shumai, I believe. You succeed, make me think what I should try making these. I keep frozen grocery store dumplings on hand, but making my own would be interesting. Yeah, Dragonite, like, if it's cheap enough, grocery store is good, but it's worth trying at least once, right? Just for fun. If nothing else, just for fun. Fresh pepper, says Green Dog. That, okay, yeah. I could see that being added as a nice, again, bit of, especially if you can find a drier pepper, like rather than the bell pepper, so you don't have to get as much moisture out of it. Again, could be a very textural and very flavorful addition there too. Bob Ninja Goldfish says I'd make the it was about 4 times bigger and fill in ground beef. I can pick the new carrot and call it a pasty. Yeah, okay, sure. I see what you're going at there. I was expecting that to end in, what do you call it? Calzone, honestly, but... Okay. Orxalon asks, Ian, question. Do the repulge, don't know if this is a word or if I'm native, or if I'm not native, closing of the dough, do you wet the borders first? Yes. Okay. So what I'm calling it, I'm not sure translation-wise, but when I'm closing the dough up, you can see I've got my finger going into this bowl here for water, and that's because I am absolutely wetting all the edges around to get them good and sticky for that when we get it here. Crimp. I'm calling it crimping, yeah, and you can see that it holds together a little bit better once you've given it a good firm push with the wetness. And that's partially what I was referring to when I talked about the liquid on the top too, coming up. What would you say is the difference between gyoza and pierogi? Lord Hosk, 100% it's the shell and the dough. That's all, I mean, that's... And the fillings too. I don't know if I could do a pierogi that was meat and cabbage based with garlic and chives. That's I you know, I kind of want to try that now without potato, but that's generally pierogi I feel like has to have potato in it. Also, but the big thing is the dough. Pierogi is a big thick hand rolled dough. It is not small and delicate. It is meant to be big and thick and boiled and fried, not hand eaten. Dragonite says, to fit people in my state, would need to feature corn and or beef. Any veggie mix would probably be a good local fix. You could swap out beef. Corn could, I mean, if you're willing to cut up the corn, that's fine. You could probably also put bits of corn in here without too much trouble. Yeah. Hatch, New Mexico, green chili might be nice add. Oh, those sound all very good. Make it Australian. Do what we do with burgers and they had ham, pineapple, or beetroot. We have both here in Victoria as well, and both are fantastic lurker spawn, or Herbert Derp Derp. And yeah. Ooh, actually got pineapple and ground beef with garlic and chives in here would actually be fantastic. I'd want to change the dipping sauce, but that still sounds really delicious, actually. Will Dumpling, so everyone shut up and don't tell anyone else, but I have also been thinking of that as I've been doing this tonight, with how easily I've been able to get these things together. It's no guarantees, no schedules, but it's going on my list of things to suggest when we have meetings, so consider that as you will. Yeah, and I think the best point of that is what Nika says. Everything dumps, but note that dumping is a monad. Well, the point is, everything dumps. It's just how it happens. Anyway, you 100% can do pierogies with tomato or with a potato. Once my Ukrainian friend fills them with spiced beef and cheese. Okay, interesting. We generally in Alberta, which has a fairly high Ukrainian population, we found here. Where I got my handle on Ukrainian cooking. We will do Saskatoon and dessert pierogies without potato. I think it's, yeah, just one of those commercial pierogies need potato. And yeah, I have absolutely heard of pierogies with sauerkraut, have never done it myself, have never run into them, so I guess I have to do them myself, is I guess what I'm learning today and of all days. Ooh. Swedish meatball with sauce for soup dumplings, or would be interesting. Bob Ninja Goldfish says cured ham. Now I think if you shredded the heck out of it, that might be an interesting thing. Yeah, the cured makes it difficult, unfortunately, because you can see how soft the interior here is right now to do the fold. Smoked salmon. Now, smoked salmon I like, but what will we add with it? Also, I prefer my smoked salmon raw, like a gravlax. But salmon around here could be doable in general. Fish, though, fish dumpling. Yeah, the smoked matter. Yeah, I don't know. That's one I will probably, when I propose the idea for a yeah, I need to move quickly for a will it dump. I'd like to try fish, but I'm not certain how it would run out. Because yeah, shrimp is like 100%. We already know. If you mince shrimp and you don't completely cover it, that's called shumai. It's one of my favorite dim sum elements. The end. God, that's really good. Smoked salmon with Kewpie and mayo. Mayo is a tough one because that's gonna. It is an emulsion. It's a sauce. It doesn't cook well. It would certainly cause the whole thing to crisp up if exposed to external heat. But lox rangoon. Juliamon, no, you have hit on a thing that I absolutely need to try making, because that is, yeah, what, cream cheese and chopped up lox inside a deep fried thing. Actually, you know what? Lox rangoon is a pierogi. honestly seems the best way, especially if you can make a sourdough dough for the pierogi or a bagel dough of some sort. Then you get all the levels there. Yeah, mayo for dipping sauce is absolutely always an option and a good one. Folks, we're very close to the end here of the meat, which means I kind of want to just, if you're game for it, finish up wrapping up these gyozas before I do the do the cook. Oh, capers! Oh yeah, Bob. Oh, actually, you know what? Capers in the Lox Rangoon are now my new secret tech. In Draconite, here's the thing: is that the Mexicans already have their own filled dumpling-like thing with the empanada. But yeah, any sort of bean, like you could just really miniature burritoize these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We need 2 more. And actually, speaking of Lox, not willing to go full Lox here on channel, but if it weren't for the fact that it was literally just let's mix some sugar and some salt in the appropriate amounts and then leave it in the fridge for 3 days, Gravlax is a reasonable facsimile for salt-cured Lox. But yeah, not so interesting to watch. Okay, here's a nightmare scenario, is I've moved around some of the... I used to worry. You know what? Up until now, I used to worry about letting the meat touch the edge of the dough. Turns out no, just, continue on. Don't worry about it. Make pleats. Squish them down nicely. You're done. My biggest fear when I was making gyoza for the first time was that, oh no, I'm going to tear the dough. I'm going to ruin these wrappers. I have not ripped or ruined a wrapper yet. Julian Gravlax, I believe, is just a salt and sugar cured salmon, which is similar to lox, but is not technically lox. But I mean, the way that lox is made in most areas of North America these days isn't lox to begin with. Just beginning with their salt to meat ratios and going from there. But as something I can make at home, interested in possibly doing so, because that's at least something where I can, in addition to realizing the joy of self-flavoring and better flavoring, but you also get the joy of slightly less expensive than store-bought. Which is fine when it comes to things like gyoza skins. I think there was some pushback from somebody the last time I said I was making something from scratch. They said, oh, does that mean you're making the skins too? And I'm like, no, it shouldn't. I am not an industrial, not industrial, but I'm not even a regional creator of producer of local staple cooking requirements. Look at that. Look at that. So I think we're getting into the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so we're getting into the last few here, which I think is going to be the batch we're going to be actually cooking. So you know what? Just for fun here, just because I haven't done it before, let's try doing one in the easy method. So for those who can't or are not interested in trying or aren't ready to try pleating, you can cover it just like a pierogi. Cover it down on all sides, and then push it down, and then bring your two sides together like that. Add a little bit more water. This actually seems like a lot more work, and this seems no longer worthwhile. And there you go. You got a nice little you got a nice little butt. We got a butt. One butt. Cook one of each style of wrapper to compare. Good point. Bob, I'm going to swap that out right now so that we've got one at the top. The first one we made. Okay. There we go. And squish it up. Squish it up. Squish it up. Like, I love the realization that as long as you just give it pleats, once you squish it down, and especially once we fry it, it looks fine. It looks immediately 100%. Which one of these is the Gyoza? Hint, it's not the butt. What is tortellini but extremely small dumplings? What is tortellini? There's some sort of an alien spacecraft asking us that question. Why didn't we put various types of pasta, and more importantly, pasta dyes, on the Voyager spacecraft? Of course, aliens can then just be like, we need to get where this delicious pasta is, and also unlimited breadsticks. We have come to your planet, but importantly, we have also come to Olive Garden, which means we are family. Jesus, no, there's a world in which aliens have watched our television enough such that they believe that, yes, that is the way to a safe discussion with us, is to meet us at... Oh no, what if there are two different warring alien factions, and one of them has decided that they will choose the path of family at Olive Garden, but the other will...
We've been told that we belong at Applebee's, and therefore at Applebee's is where we shall meet our beachhead.
No mercy for the alien race that decides upon the Hooters branding to make their stand. So when we're recording this crap shots, unfortunately, I feel like this requires a bit more setup than a crap shot allows for. Oh wow. Whoops. Nope. Hey, can I say, holy moly, you can save it. I don't like I don't like this. I'm coming down. I don't like this wrapper. It's good. It's fine. It works. It holds. It doesn't rip, but it's not delicate. This is no good. I'm actually going to swap out one more of the so that I've got a secondary check. This is going to go in the list here. Okay. What's the best way here? You know what? I'm going to say that the thing to do is you're just all gonna come with me, right? Yes, that's how this is gonna work. All right. Good luck, everyone. So, welcome to the kitchen area. This is so you know that you'll know where I am. This is coming with me in this direction. Oh, okay. This is where I... Stop! Don't worry. Everything is fine. Everything is 100% actualized. We're okay. Goodbye for a second. We're doing it live. Okay, come with me. No, do not SOS emergency call. Don't do that. There we go. Okay. Now, hopefully... Let's say that'll do. Okay. Are you able to see what's going on? Kind of. Love it. Okay, let's rotate you. Transform. Rotate 90 degrees. No. Yeah. Yes. Welcome to the kitchen. I'm not going to be able to see anything you say for the next little while, so let's all be good, okay? But let's take our gyozas and whatnots into the zone. Our big old pan. Oil-wise, you know what? Let's celebrate. I've got a little bit of some chicken oil I haven't dealt with yet. And where's my phone? Okay. I'm gonna move the monitor here so I can kind of maybe glance to see you if I want to. I absolutely do, because y'all are erudite and entertaining folks, and we are super lucky to have you as fans, if nothing else. Right. Recipe, because the actual cooking of them matters. Okay. Heat oil in a medium non-stick pan over medium heat until shimmering. Add as many dumplings as will fit. Okay, you know what? Let's not use animal fat, just for fun. Let's use the vegetable oil. Medium heat. 1 tablespoon-ish? Sure. More heat's always better. Or oil in these cases. Let dumplings steam for 3 minutes. Then add... Wait. Okay. Heat 1 tablespoon of oil in a skillet until medium heat, until shimmering. Add as many dumplings as will fit in the single layer. Okay, swirl pan until evenly golden brown, about 1.5 minutes. Then 3 minutes. Right. Sorry. Gonna put on an apron here as well, because it's time. I'm gonna make you real big. Boop, 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 boop. So I can see. Okay. And again, we're gonna get out our good metallic spatula. We just want this to be shimmering. Well, get up to medium heat. Get on my medium heat level. In the meantime, let's make ourselves a small dipping sauce, shall we? Yes, we shall. So, for those of you... No, for those of you... We'll just use this as our sauce here. It's a... It was a Nerve ashtray from Evangelion, and then we made it better. Let's grab that, the rice vinegar, and our... I'll grab the soy sauce, rice vinegar, and our chili oil. And we'll add, what is it? Some vinegar. Oh god, that seems to be a lot of vinegar. Not too bad. And then a bit of soy sauce. That seems to be a good mix there. And then just a bit of chili oil. Grab some chopsticks just to test that out with. Give it a slight stir. Could use a bit more soy sauce. Definitely need to get more toasted chili oil. This is not really the same. I should have used my my Ryu, but that's very expensive stuff by comparison. I think what I need to do is just make my own. But yeah, I think a little bit of just a hitch of sesame oil is going to be a good flavor for that. Oh wow. Yep, that'll do it. Good stuff. Okay. Now let's move that up here. Are we shimmering yet? Turn on some lights. That's the fan. I mean, fan's good too. We should get my lid. So the hardest part has been trying to find a good lid for my my pan. I managed to track one down in a thrift shop that fits over nicely and gives it enough space for steam to actually build up, which is, I think. Okay. We're just about there. We want to get that oil nice and ready to receive. Because this is going to be the place where we build up that crust. So I'm just going to take my dumplings in hand here because I'm ridiculous like that. We'll be ready here to put those in just a second. Oop. All right. I'm actually just going to push them up against the countertop here. Can you even see me? Oh, I think that, you know what? 1 second here. Face cam. 1 sec. Here we go. Whoop. Hey, there we go. That's better. Now we've got that shimmering oil, so let's get ourselves down there for a minute. One minute, 30-second timer. Okay, so now we need to get a half cup of water ready. Because we'll be using that to make steam. For the oil's getting around. Things are still moving, so that's okay. That's good. Woo. All right, what's next here? I need a better system of doing timers. Give it a couple seconds, but we want to make sure to get that bottom nice and browned up. Again, when you're dealing with these things, your own stove is going to have its own quirks as to how hot it needs to be and how hot it doesn't. And the recipe itself is written for a non-stick pan, remember, but God, doesn't that not look good? Let's get to that later. Okay, so we're going to increase the heat to high, or to medium high, and then add a half cup of water and then cover tightly with a lid. And this is where we do 3 minutes. Let's move this around. There we go. Okay, there we go. And we'll set that 3-minute timer. And set a fan going too. Also, hey, welcome Raiders! Spooks the Bloops. And friends, thanks for joining us. We're making some gyoza. It's gonna be it's gonna be a thing. Okay. So I've reduced the heat already. But once this occurs, we're going to continue cooking until the water's fully evaporated. And that should be 2 minutes past the 3-minute mark. Hearing a lot of popping, which is never a good sign, but you know what? That was a big pop, and I don't like that. This is, okay. Things are happening that are not normal. But we'll see. We'll find out what happens when we lift the lid. We can't lift the lid yet. It's still steaming. Potentially what happened is that I ended up just feeling these things too good. Poppin' meats. No, I think even if it did pop, it'll be fine, because the whole point is you want that crisp bottom and steamed everything else. And as long as that occurs, even if the top pops, I'm happy. Top of the pops. Now, here's one more from the Shaggy set. Jesus. I wonder what's making it do that, too. If anything. Anyway, our time is up. Alarmer has done its thing. Let's have a look. Oh, wow! Okay, so it was just fucking around. So now we just need to continue. It's that goddamn butt! It's the butt! The shape of the butt is causing explosions. But we are so good right now. Our gyoza have not stuck to the bottom in such a way that they're dead. The water is nearly gone. Let's see here. 1 more minute, I think. Ah! Yep, it's the butt. The butt can't stop firing oil. Oh god, and this one is absolutely about to actually pop. I mean, this is another one of the reasons why they're better to cook off of frozen, because they don't have quite so many of the live water issues. Okay, I think we're done here. So let's get, yeah! Jeez. These have been some of the most reactive things I have ever dealt with, but let's do the nice, let's do the lineup. And so you see this puff up that's happening here too. This is one of the issues that gets solved by freezing them, is they tend to cling to their contents a little bit better. But, jeez. Folks, I'm really kind of happy with how these look right now. Right? These are, good-looking things. So let's, move over here. And, nope, nope, never. Hi. Hi, I'm Ian Horner, and I approve this, this gyoza. I'm also giving this a chance just to shut down here, but I'm really happy with how these look right now, guys. This is... Stop being so active. All right, let's make some room on the plate for the dipping sauce here as well. Okay. Oh. These are really good. They're super crisp right off the pan. And I want to be able to give you the proper rating of both of the two different versions, because that's important to me too. Just need to let them cool down a half second here. Let's hold our horses. Remember, these literally came out of the pan seconds ago. Yeah, lots of oil spatter there too. I don't like that, but you know what? When you're cooking good food, sometimes you have to clean up afterwards. But here we go. I just wanted to see if we can get these. Okay, so these are the early ones. These are the small ones, or the thin wrapper. Double happiness. Do you like that? The pork on the inside tastes exactly as I expected it to. Adding a little bit more vinegar to the sauce here as well, because it wasn't cutting. I'm gonna also give you a bit more space here so you're not right up against me. Okay, so let's try one of the thick boys. It's one of the thick ends. Ooh. I expected to like that a lot less, but it's actually quite pleasant in how thick it is. I think that I'm glad that I have two other options of the other versions. Let's try the thin again. Okay. And then the double happiness. I think if I were trying to win a contest, I would use the double happiness thin wrappers. But if I'm making something that's going to be a meal for myself, and I want that thick feeling, I'm going to go with the thicker, cheaper wrappers. To be honest, I'll double check that here because I got another thin one. Okay, real test. It's the butt in thick wrapper. What do we think? Folks, if you want a good meaty gyoza with a good toothy chew to that exterior shell, you too can go with the cheap, thick gyoza wrappers and the yeah, you can go with that and save yourself some money. It really, and well, skill-wise, you'll get the plates if you want them, but you can absolutely do the butt style and still have a good time in your mouth with gyoza. Folks, that's going to do it with Tinker Tailor Soldier Fry for tonight. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here in the Crystal Gondola and in my kitchen. But we'd like to remind you that if you'd like to support us, check out patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. It's the best way to give us your support. But also, thank you to those of you who gives us your subs and bits at twitch.tv/loadingreadyrun. Store.loadingreadyrun.com is where you can buy things that Beej will let you buy. You can't get gyoza there, is what I'm saying. Why did you come back? You can't get gyoza there, is what I'm saying. But other than that, check out loadingreadyrun.com/live for what's coming up on the streams of the next week. Don't forget, Sunday at 6 p.m. Why did you come back? We are having regular crispy day. Where we'll be doing some more food there. But yeah, for tonight, thanks so much for watching. As we say all the time, see you in a fortnight, never in fortnight, ever forward, learning out of spite. Good night.